Welcome to the Grown Woman Podcast.
With your host, Marianne and,
of course, Shakkiah.
Get ready for candid conversations, expert insights, and plenty of laughter along the way.
Of course.
Tune in and join our community of empowered women navigating life's journey with style and grace.
With style and grace. Love it. Tune in to today's episode. Welcome to the Grown Woman Podcast. Super excited. And we literally say that every show. But I think we really be excited.
We are excited.
We really be excited. Our guest is amazing today. But y'all know how we start. We start with our check-in. Oh, it's me?
It's you.
It's me?
It was an interesting day.
Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you. Jesus had to come in the room. All right, we had a sister moment.
We
like
had
a big
our first
sister,
argument.
Little sister. No, this is like the third. It's the first for her. I done had so many in my head with her already. Like, it just came out loud today. But you know, working and growing, I'm like, Jesus, help. But we got through it. And I was the bigger person. I apologize first. Did I not apologize first?
You did.
Okay, I was like, oh, fine, I'm gonna call. And I got on there like, but I did it. So therefore, anyhow, I was very proud of you because the last time we had like a little snit, we were out of town, we were in DC. She held on to it for like 24 hours. And our whole little crew was like, so you're not gonna talk to us? We were at brunch and everything. She was like,
I was mad at everybody.
She was so mad. Like, she wouldn't talk, but the food was too good, so she had to give in. And towards the end, she was like, this is really good. Oh, we like, oh, you talking to us now?
I was like 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm back to normal.
Yes. And I was like, where was we? We was at Park Street in DC, and so the brunch was so amazing. And we were like, well, if you want to be like that, we just gone. And we just started eating, and she eventually came to. So, but yes, proud of you. You breathe and you let it go.
And I didn't disappear. I didn't disappear. See, I usually disappear when I get home. Oh, okay. I did.
Little sister drama. Yeah.
But how you feeling?
Girl, it was a lot. No, I'm still on this emotional roller coaster from just the recording of sharing my story. Mm-hmm. And we've been recording back to back these last few days. So although you guys will see this at a very different time, for us, we're still in these spaces and moments. So I'm still processing, sharing with the world, like all the things that I never would have shared. So for me, I'm still like anticipating the outcome of that. But that's me.
Me, I feel like I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed because a lot of things are coming my way so fast, so soon. Although I've been praying for all of these things. And it's like now that I'm starting to see it, I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm ready for this. Mm-hmm. So I want to run the other way. So self-doubt, I cried last night and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for all of this. And I was crying about my kids. God for something. Then when he gives it to you, like, but I didn't want you to give it to me like this. And it's like, I didn't tell you I was going to give it to you. Right? That's how we do it. So it's a little bit overwhelming just because there's a lot of good things happening, but everything is happening at once. Yeah. And it's just getting used to changing my mindset. To receiving, to open my hands and be okay with receiving all of the good things that God asked for me. But it's a lot. Yes. And I'm learning. And it's a new thing. But one another crazy thing of like how in alignment this conversation is today. Because our guest works really well in that space. And it's so crazy because we didn't know we were going to be emotional wrecks when she was coming to the show. So she's going to lead us in a workshop during this podcast. But super excited to introduce our guest today. And I'm going to just give a quick bio. We'll put it in the description because she has so many accolades. It was like, what do I pick out? But 20 years of experience in leading women, leaders, working with organizations around development, around growth, around being a human. Right, you have a book. Yes. You have a podcast. I believe you were in Forbes. Yeah. Dance, just a full woman, just a full person. And what I love is,
get to see your work, but also you continue to let us know that you're human. So you share a lot of personal stories, and that's how I actually started to follow you, because I'm like, I can see the dynamic things that you're doing, but you still will come back and be like, but I'm human, right? And these are the things. And so being able to see a woman that is so powerful be vulnerable without regret was what attracted me to like, I gotta know who she is. So welcome to the show today, Desiree. And again, we're going to put all her contact information, her links and all that, because I didn't do justice with her bio. But we're going to make sure y'all can link to her podcast, her book, and workshop information, speaker, travel. She here visiting, so we got her. She East Coast now, but yeah.
So glad I can be
but we're going to hop right in though, right? We want to get right into it. And so my question is, knowing that, again, we just said all the things that you have done, but being in the space for 20 plus years, leading women, leading leaders, and leading organizations to what you say, not being overwhelmed and understanding we're human, right? I always think about the most like motivated people and the people that love to empower people. It's always a story behind it, right? And so my question to you is, one, what is that story? And two, as you're explaining that story to us, what was that pivot that you were like, I know this is my journey.
Yeah.
I know I just hit you with like two big questions.
I know, I was going to say,
this is the intro. Let's go.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Let's go. Well, we need you to unpack because we need help today. We need help.
You know, it's like, how far do I go? You know, one of the things that I feel like has inspired me and didn't know it until the other side, I was about 13 and I got bullied a lot in middle school. And I feel like middle school kids can be mean. In general.
All kids can be mean.
But I was that nerd. I was a book nerd. I did all my work. And I was actually not very outspoken in groups because I felt way more timid in spaces that were my family and friends. And even amongst family and friends, there was a part of me that was a little more timid because I was that person that wanted to keep harmony in the room. You know, if there were arguments at home or things just weren't going right, I wanted to find a way to bring harmony in the space and create that harmony amongst people. You know, have you ever been that person that you want everyone to get along? You want everything to be peaceful all the time? No, not you.
That's never been. My mom calls me the rebel of the family, and she always is like, whatever you say your siblings are going to do. So I was never the harmony keeper. I was like, this is what we're going to do.
Oh, okay. No, I love that.
What were you? Were you the harmony keeper?
I was the only child.
So you like, it's just me.
Like,
it's just me, boo.
It's just me, so I just do it.
It's me, boo.
I was that person that wanted everybody to get along, wanted things to be good. And so being in school where it was just a lot of bullying and, you know, the things that go on in middle school. I remember having a friend that would take up for me, but she also was the epitome of hurt people, and a clinger, like someone that needed someone to be her person. I was almost that pet, right? And so I remember so vividly. I was 13 and I was going into 8th grade, and I don't know, you know, you talk about that switch and people talk about switches. I don't know what it was, but in 8th grade, I started talking more and I was stepping into myself and I wasn't as intimidated in spaces, and I didn't let people mess with me like I used to. You know, there was just something, and I think they didn't mess with me because I stood up in myself a lot more and I became more involved and not afraid to be seen and all of that. And so as a result, you start attracting people to you. And I remember just having different friends that weren't like the people that didn't talk to me before, but I just didn't talk.
So you became the cool kid.
I was a cool kid.
The cool kid.
I am a cool kid. Didn't even know it. And so, but I'm not that person. I'm the person that's like, I want everybody to be a part of it. Like, come on.
To be in the group. You can't be the cool kid and then want everybody to be a part of the group.
But see, that's the person I am. I'm like, no, I don't want the underdog to be let out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a harmonizer. And so I remember her wanting to, you know, have me to herself. And I'm like, oh no, just come the people I hung out with were cool. Like, they weren't mean girls, you know? And she just didn't want to because she's like, no, I just want to be with you. And I was just like, okay. And so she started treating me like the other people used to that she would shield me from. Yeah. Wow. And there was my epiphany at that point was when she started being like calling me out my name, just other kind of things. This is, you know, people in middle school, you know, can be a little crazy.
She would have had a little.
And I was definitely not a fighter. I would defend myself, but I'm not a fighter.
Give me Jesus, because.
Give me the Lord. And I remember this thought that, something's wrong with her. And I don't know why that's so significant
versus
to me.
Taking it in. Like, that's her.
I was like, dang, something's wrong with her. And I was like, I feel bad. I am very much an empath. So I was like, dang, I feel really bad that that's how she has to take that.
You feel bad for the person bullying you.
Yeah. I was like, something is wrong.
Yeah.
With that. And so, like, then, you know, like, as life goes on, like, high school, I was doing everything. I was student class president. I was on dancing. I was on volleyball.
You were one of those. No,
I was everybody. I was that. Whatever that is with.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
I was doing a lot of things for my first job because I didn't have a job until I was 17. And my teacher asked me if I wanted to do a job that was a teen mentor.
Okay.
And it was with a nonprofit that doesn't exist anymore, I believe, in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Rosalie Manor. Does that even exist anymore?
No, but I do remember because I used to work at Rosalie Manor. I worked at Rosalie Manor for like maybe
so
a year.
Yeah. So I used to work for a program there as a teen mentor, and it was back in the day when they did abstinence-based programs and like relationship building programs. So I had to teach middle and elementary school kids like self-esteem and self-image and decision making. Yeah. And I knew then, I was like, I love this. Wow. I love creating environments where people learn more about themselves and become better versions of themselves, and I can create positivity with just my presence and energy. Like, that was fun for me.
How was it teaching abstinence?
Oh my goodness!
I mean, she said it was an abstinence program to middle school kids. Like, how was that?
It went up to middle school, but it started at like 3rd grade, and I had the younger group.
And you talked about abstinence.
I know that's why
I don't want my baby doing
I think it's a little much because we talked about STDs. We talked about
in the 3rd grade.
It was like 3rd or 4th grade. I might be dating myself.
I mean, today they definitely should with all of the sexy reds and all of that. But back then,
it was like 9 through 15. So is that 3rd? Well, 4, maybe 4th is 9-year-olds, because my nephew's 8. He's in 3rd grade.
Mine's 7. She's in 3rd grade.
So
that is 3rd grade.
It was like 9 to 15, but the majority of kids were like 10, 11, 12. You got a few that were in middle school. It was only awkward talking about, because we never really talked about sex in itself.
Yeah,
we really
but all the things.
The things around it. Like,
and that's another conversation of like teaching what not to do in sex, but not teaching the actual facts about it, right?
Exactly.
And so when they get into it, I think we were talking about this yesterday of like, again, nothing against my mom, parents, but it was like, my mom was like, birth control. It was never a conversation of like, don't have sex. It was like, my grandma was like, heaven or hell, God gonna get you. No sex. And then my mom was like, it was like it was just a bad thing, right? And so versus me being able to have somebody to talk to about it, it was like, well, you're going to sneak because she can't talk about it. And as soon as she found out, she's like, birth control.
Wow.
It was no conversation. And we were like, that's what hinders and hurts, because if you don't have the full knowledge to make decisions of your body is valuable, you if you give away, like it's a spiritual, it's a physical, if I would have understood all of that, right? It would have been a better decision to be like, I'm not ready to give him like the value.
It was just like
you
don't
did it.
do
No,
it
don't do it.
It's like that.
I'm your mom and you're not supposed to do
Stop
that.
playing games. And I mean, it made me wonder too, like what parents, kind of expected when they signed their kid. I mean, they signed off, like they knew we was talking about stuff, but it also was a program where they did things. Like we had speakers, we talked about a lot of different things. So it was kind of holistic in the sense that it wasn't just talking about that, but it was known as an abstinence-based program and promoting abstinence. They weren't an abstinence till marriage. It was abstinence until thing. But we had so much fun because we talked about all the topics, peer pressure. Because what I love the most about it is that we talked about relationship building. Good friendship. What is a good friendship? What is peer pressure? How to talk to people? How to make decision making?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't have that program when I was young.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed that.
I attribute that to a lot of the ways that I grew because, you know, when you're the teacher, you learn the most.
Learn it, No, I love that. But I know you were talking about earlier that you had seen a post.
Yeah, so I saw a post because I went to your link.
Yeah.
But before
Women Insta and LinkedIn stalking her.
But before I jump into this, because she said something very important about you being bullied when you were younger. And I know that some of the things that we've talked about in the last couple of days specifically is the things that happen in your childhood and how they come back once we're growing, impact you, right? And as women of color, I don't want to sound like a victim, but sometimes it's worse for us because it happens to us during our childhood
daily,
and then it happens to us in corporate, right?
Daily.
So, what happened to you when you were younger? The bullying that happened to you. But then I see these women coming in, she's a lady, right?
Y'all, she came in here like on a model walk. Flowing.
So I see this woman coming in, and as we were talking about your story the other day, it's like people see this greatness.
Right.
They see this greatness. They see this woman with a book. They see this amazing speaker. But they don't know the backstory, right? And what has happened after that. So I want to spend some time talking about what that was like, you growing up, and how did that reflected in you as an adult.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's so layered. It's so much to unpack here.
We all need unpacking at this point.
Unpack here. I think that it's a juxtapositioning that happens because, you know, you can be raised. I have one sibling. Me and my older sister. We're like a year and a half apart, so we're almost like twins. So it was just us, but we were raised so closely. Like we, you know, we had each other for support. So my sister, she the one. So like she not gonna let nobody mess with me.
I see you, sis.
She don't let nobody mess with me. So like having a very loving household, like my parents. They just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary this summer.
One day, Jesus.
Yes, they give me hope about life and everything. But it's great to have that example. But being able to just see how they dealt with strife and had their own, you know, just marital arguments, things that they dealt with because they were growing up as they were raising us. You know, the hindsight is 20/20 when you think about your parents sometimes. It's like they didn't know what they was doing. They was trying to figure out their own life while they were raising us. But what I will say is that we had a very loving household. And knowing that I was loved,
that's good,
I think was big. And sometimes people don't have that. And so they find it in other people. Maybe they end up having a really great friend group that they find that in. Or they find it in God. That spiritual space is where they find it in, and that is reconciled in them. But knowing that I was loved and that people cared about me and that there were spaces where I was celebrated, that it didn't break me. You know what I mean? But you can take someone that has that and it breaks them. So that's why I say it's so subjective because it is, and we'll talk about this probably the whole time, it's about our perspective. And if we have been given the tools to have a perspective that the glass is really half full, then something might not break us. It's not that it didn't bother me. Like, I journaled a lot. I've been journaling since I was like in 5th grade.
I love
I had a diary. Did y'all have diaries?
I did.
I've been a writer my whole life.
But then my mom started reading it, so I stopped.
Dagger.
I think I might have kept mine because I knew my mom. And I was very truthful in my journal.
Like, listen.
It's gotta stay with me.
The journaling is so powerful, and even if someone doesn't like reading and writing,
I need to get my daughter a journal.
tell them to journal. Journaling is what's
She's 14. I don't think she's ever asked me for a journal.
Yeah, because they be
I'm gonna go get her one with the little lock and key. She gonna be like,
it'll be so cute. I don't feel like I am.
I'm like, what?
This is not IG. This is not TikTok or Snap.
But I'm glad you said that because people that like they're thumb warriors.
Yeah.
Now. Like,
Yeah.
they'll run to social media and
give it to social media before they give it to the people in the house.
Yeah.
But that's a different.
Or give it to themselves.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because that's what journaling was.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much an extrovert, but I think over time I realized I'm like an ambivert because I am a journaler. I have to process.
Yeah, I'm a processor.
I'm definitely like 75-60% extrovert most times, but
ooh, I don't know how you.
I like that introvert. I be having to like more so over the last maybe 7-8 years.
I'm like 80% introvert.
Really?
And people don't believe me. See, like everybody's always surprised. I have to charge every day.
What?
Like it's not like a day I don't have to charge.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Like
Totally.
so, like if I know my day is busy, I'm either starting by myself, like where it's no in between. There is no interruption. There's like I'm like, all right, if I gotta be with people for this many hours, like it's by myself. Or if I start early, like I just never have like meetings with people back to back.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great reserving your energy, and I think
because I'll be sitting here looking at you like, and Marion knows my faces where I'm like, what are you doing?
Like I'm done. What is this? What is this?
But I love what she said because it's like starts at home. She said, it doesn't mean that it didn't bother me that I was getting bullied.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that maybe someone's hurt me, but knowing that I was loved at home.
Do you feel yours? Do you feel you grew up in a loved home?
No.
I don't.
I grew up by myself, pretty much.
And so that is so. I mean, like I understand it, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's not really. My friends were my, like you said, my support system.
But I think that that's key, Shakkiah, because I'm like, if you feel like you have to have been able to connect to that somewhere, because then you just be like, man, I don't care about y'all right now. You know what I mean? Because like it's kind of like. You tell kids now, or you tell anybody now, I was like, why do you even care what they think? Because they don't even know you. I mean, think about in these online streets. It's bullies in the online streets.
They care.
And we can put even us, like, sometimes you be like, why do you say that? But then you gotta remember, like, you don't even know me. Like, why am I putting all of my whatever? But I think that it is really important to have community in some form or fashion. And I would go on to say, having a positive influence. Like some people don't have a positive influential community because love can mean somebody has beaten you, but they spend time with you. So you have made that. So I would even go on to say like being able to know what love is in and of itself.
That's good.
And opposite of another person, I think too, learning. So I'm a positive intelligence coach too. You see that in the bio, right? So I'm a positive intelligence coach too, and that has a lot to do with self-sabotaging tendencies and neuroscience.
Listen.
I'm listening. Girl, tell me.
You was in our conversation because I hate to say it, but I'm 40, and I let Marion kind of share her thoughts or what she want to share on that. And I'm just learning what love is.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
I had to have this honest conversation with one of my best friends of it's crazy that I thought I loved before, right? But now I can understand what it means on a side where I don't feel people are ever healed. I feel like we're always healing, but I'm in the best place that I've ever been, like mentally, emotionally, and physically. And so with that, like I look back and I'm like, I'm very spiritual, right? And my faith lies in God. And so a lot of kind of just my defining has come from like me studying and just those representatives. But it's like love is kindness, love is joy, love is peace. And so when I look back and I'm like, everything that everyone that I thought I loved, it was hardship with shit, right? So in this state of my life, I'm like, I never loved because I don't want that. Like if this is what love is, then I don't want that, right?
Sure.
But then I'm here and I'm like, I'm surrounded by super dope people, right? I'm in a community that wraps their arms around me, and I'm like, oh, this is love because it's unconditional, right? Like we can go off like we do and still come back, and it's not a, and so just hearing you say that, and I know we were recently talking, and I was just like, I don't think I've ever loved other than my daughters. Right? Well,
but I think, as you say that, I think, like, for example, what happened this morning between you and I, like, I never got irritated.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, we were, for the first time I have an argument with somebody, but I wasn't irritated.
Yeah, sure.
But if it would have been my man, like if I was in a relationship, I would have disappeared for 2 days. So I feel like it depends. Like if it's a romantic relationship versus a friendship. So when I think of love, I love my friends. When I think, have I loving relationship, romantic relationship, I don't know if I have. Because there has always been a, what am I getting in return? What do you want from me? And now, you know, as we've been talking, that's carrying.
How was our positive coach?
It's like,
How was out? Come on, coach. She over here like.
This is good.
She's taking notes like.
This is good. Well, first, I think it's something to be said about, okay, so love is, but being able to recognize that our definition of love has been tainted. You know what I mean? And I love what you said, because it is, whether or not it's romantic or something, but we have kind of like eaten the lie that love has to look a certain way.
Preach!
She's talking to somebody over here.
That love has to look a certain way, because we watch so many movies and we think that it means that it. So I use my parents as an example because they've been married for 50 years, but they have overcome drug abuse. They have overcome
50 years. That's a
poverty.
life.
They have overcome, you know, raising kids and having to deal with us. They have overcome their own, like, you know, financial growth. They've overcome family members passing away. You know what I mean? Like, and so everything wasn't a cakewalk, but they were committed to their commitment. You know what I mean?
Committed to their commitment.
Yeah, and I think that and the commitment was to love each other, right? And sickness and health, to death, to all the things, but also acceptance, right? How do we meet people accepting that we're getting into something, being okay with who they are right now, because love is growth.
Being okay with who
they are right now, because see, with friends, it's easy to say, you know what, I think we've reached the end of our season. And it's okay if we're not buddy-buddy anymore, because we reached the end of our season. And I think a lot of times when it comes to marriage, we don't think that there are seasons where we might not like each other as much. So I'm sure you all have listened to podcasts and people that are married and actually happy, because
there's a difference in being married and then being happy with self.
And love each other, happy with themselves. And I've seen people say, hey, it was 10 years where it was rocky. But you know, and not even like necessarily physical or verbal abuse, but just this
figuring
sense
it
of
out,
just figuring it out. Like, okay, this just might be one of those seasons, and like I'm gonna let you, you know, grow into whatever you need to grow into. But I think that's why it's important, whether it's friends or romantic, to choose people because of qualities and characteristics. That are
And I will admit,
admit it, girl.
That wasn't always the case, right? There was always like other requirements. But in this stage of my life, I am still challenging myself to see a person before I see what they have to offer. Right?
Ooh, well, I got a challenge. I want to say challenge.
Yeah, challenge.
I got a challenge, because one of my challenges is to be very clear about who we are, so that we can align ourselves to who we desire. Because you don't get what you desire, you get who you are. You attract who you are.
The other day.
I know. And
based off of the
podcast.
podcast.
And so, for the cynicism in the room, if it's here or somewhere else, people say like, and I've been that person that's like, well, I got somebody that didn't treat me right, and I'm a person that treats people right. But there is some characteristic about them that you decided to attract, and you didn't consider like wanting someone that was kind. You actually wanted the other thing more than you were considering kindness, right? And
I feel like you pointing fingers at people. I don't know what's happening.
What do you think is the biggest blockage, especially for women? Like, we are these powerful, go-getter, ambitious women, and we were just talking about this all
the time,
But when it comes to love, it's like, I can get all this money, I can get all of this. But when it comes to love, sometimes it's like, what's happening in that area, Lord? Yes, tell me.
Because I think that we are.
And to add,
please add.
right?
I'm not gonna forget.
In this community right now, right? They call it red pill, blue pill. All the conversations are like, women are so masculine and so men, like it's this masculine, feminine, and all of that, because women like myself, like Nair, like you, like want to go after things, right? And I don't feel like you should have to choose. And so I just kind of feel like there's a war.
Oh, girl, look at these. I love this kind of stuff. Cross over legs. Well, for A, what I was going to say, and I'm going to come back to that, is that we don't use the same tools that we have in those areas toward love. Ooh. Right? So it's like, if I know how to pursue a goal that is like this, I know how to pursue a thing. I get real clear about what I desire and not and I'm actually open to how it happens. Mm-hmm. And I think we lack the openness sometimes, because with other things it's very whatever, but it's different when it's another person that you're interacting with. But it's still the same concept, because we don't treat it when it's a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do that. We don't treat it when it's a goal. We don't treat it when it's buying something that.
But when it's love, we like.
And I think a job is a good one, because with a job, it's like it's a relationship, right?
I just felt somebody side-eyeing me, so I was just looking at
I understand. I'm like, when it's a job, it's like you're entering a relationship. And like, it's an exchange of time, resources, energy. So like, we take a lot of effort in making sure, I do, if I'm working full-time, I'm like, what kind of company is it? I'm talking to the people that work there. Do you like these people? Like, how is, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, you even told me, like, you've been somewhere for a long time, because there is something that is a connection. The relationship is going well. I'm being intentional about this relationship. I'm talking to my boss and the people around me. Like, there's an intention to keep this relationship going. We have the ability to do the thing, but I think that we don't transfer the skill set. The other part, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying, like in terms of being masculine and blah, blah, blah. Not blah, 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 but you know what I'm saying. What you were saying. I think that we, as women, we have I don't want to say a hard time. I think that we are in a season that has made it hard for us. And let me tell you why.
Do you think we've made it hard for us?
No. I know we made it hard for us, but I think I want to give us some grace. And this is me too.
But you're saying
honestly.
We've made it hard for us.
No.
Like women.
The environment has made it hard for us. And I would include men in too. Like, we are in a season of life where you can hear opinions about everybody, even if you don't care about them, online, scrolling, whatever, that really shift the way you think. I was raised in a household with a 2-parent household, blah, 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 right? That didn't mean I didn't know families that had otherwise, but essentially I could have been in a bubble of like, this is just how you do, right? So it's a pro and con. Right now I can see like, oh, okay, I know people that have gotten together and they don't fight all the time, or they don't whatever. That's positive. But the other part, you see people that be like, you don't need that, and women ain't good anyway, and all men are dogs, whatever. And so like, we have a lot of information clouding our mindsets. That's men and women. Like, some podcasts or what have you, and they'll remain nameless because this is a podcast. I don't understand that.
Because we don't want y'all to come for us just yet.
I don't do that because to each his own, because it's subjective. I don't listen to things on either side. I don't listen to women bashing men, and I don't listen to men bashing women. If we're not here to have a collective conversation of how we gonna understand each other, how we gonna love each other, that is not the information I need to hear. And so one thing that is in our way is that we listen to too much. We scroll to too much. That is not effectively what we desire. And so what happens is we're taking all of this in, and that is what our brain is looking for in real life, because we don't get what we say, we get what we focus on.
That's so good. My spiritual father, I used to hear him say all the time, if you married, you shouldn't be watching divorce court every day, right? And he was saying, and he was just be like, because you're going to start finding, and I used to laugh and be like, like thinking about that does make sense. But as you said, like, we are what we attract. But I do want to go back to the statement of how we approach it.
Ooh, okay.
Because I felt like you hit like
a
little nerve.
Yeah, tell us.
A little nerve, right? Because in in my personal life, I am very much less aggressive.
Okay.
I'm very, and we talk about this all the time. I am very like, when I want something, I don't care who I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the answer, I'm gonna find the solution. If you ain't the person, I'm going to this person, right? Like every day, the goal is to win, right? Hearing you say the difference is approaching life in your professional career goal this way, but then in your personal life, you're like, well, if it doesn't flow like this, because for me, I'm like, as soon as it hit a flag 1, 2, or flag 1, I don't even get to the 2, right?
Yeah.
But I was just sitting here hearing like, but Kia, when somebody tells you no in this arena, you go around and find the person. And so, I mean, I guess for me, in hearing you say that, it's like, what would be your suggestion in approaching that and making sure you're not running into a flag versus you fighting yourself, right? Like, is it a flag or are you fighting yourself because you are so wanting something to look a certain way?
Yeah, no, this is good. So a life-changing book that honestly, they don't sell it anymore. It's crazy. It's not on Amazon. You can't find it anymore. A friend from college recommended it to me years ago, and when it was still available, I recommended it. It's called Score Your Soulmate by Lisa Hayes. Now, there might be some Google articles, but it's just out of print. You can't get it anymore. I'll screenshot y'all some of the pictures because I have it on Kindle. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But the point is, Score Your Soulmate is really embedded in the law of attraction.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I think is helpful in terms of like, what do we do? I read that book at a time where I felt the same way. Like, man, I just keep hitting walls. And so the more research I did with neuroscience, like the way our brain works and law of attraction and with my faith, honestly, like all of it started making sense. And the thing is that I'm looking for the wrong things in a person instead of being the person that I want.
Wait, say it again.
I'm looking for all the wrong things in a person. Yeah. I'm looking for all the wrong things in a person instead of being the person that I desire. And so I can be real, and you gotta be real. Like I had to go. So in the book, I'm rambling.
No,
in
this
the
is
book,
good.
this is good.
This is
This is good. So in the book, and I use this activity with please. I use this activity with clients because it's a really powerful activity for any area of life. But basically, who are your top 3 male, either boyfriends or influences? Because it could be your dad, it can be your brother, like influences. And what have you learned in your relationship with that person? It can be past, present, or, well, past, present, no future. So you just list out 10 things of 3 people, and you have to choose those 3 people. And look at that list, and so it's a list of 30 things, essentially.
30 things per person?
No, altogether.
Altogether.
So 10 for each one. And then when you look at that list, you get to ask yourself, like, what are the themes I'm seeing? So I listed
that you like in that person.
Oh no, just themes. It don't even matter whether you like it or not.
No,
it's
so
like
looking at those individuals. Oh, what you learned.
What you learned
about yourself.
Just in general. It can be about yourself. It can be our relationships. It can be about men. It can be about life. 3 things that you learned because it's really good. So I think I listed all ex-boyfriends. And I noticed some of the themes in it is that I was always looking to help somebody be better. I'm a coach.
That is my problem.
That's our
problem. I'm a coach.
You was looking at a whole nother one that need help.
Like, there's some potential there.
I know.
But I will say from a biblical perspective, like women,
we are the innators,
so
right?
Like,
yes.
Finish you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they looking to finish you.
We like, because we know you can do it. You just need a step. You just need like that little just so if we give it to you.
But the point is like that is not helpful because the things that they were lacking were not helpful in a relationship. Like some of it was like just not communicating well, or some of the things. Because that was one thing I learned. I'm like, I don't want to be with someone that doesn't know how to communicate well, or that they're not a whole person, like they don't enjoy what they're doing with their life, like because I enjoy what I'm doing with my life, so I would find myself meeting people that did not enjoy their career path or what have you, but that was attractive because I'm the person that helps people figure out. And so I'm like, oh, okay, cool, which could be helpful if they're actually
so you were like me, you were building a
right, which is different. It's different than somebody elevating, like they're doing their thing and you're just adding to it. But it was like, I am like fixing a gap, and that's the problem, right? And so like I realized that. So I had a list of a few things, and she said, get that list down to 10 things. The list of the things that you see.
Choose
just 10. Choose 10, because it might not be 10 things, but you might see 5 things. But that's just to give you more content to write 10 things that are deal breakers that you will no longer tolerate.
That is so good.
So that's part 1, girl. We ain't hot. So that's part 1.
We got homework.
I got homework. So 10 things you no longer tolerate. You actually could do this with jobs. You can do this with friends. You can do this with a lot of different areas in your life. But I really enjoyed how she did this. Right? So that was like your list. So you just kind of keep that list on deck so that you know, like, that's how you know your red flag. I wanted to roll back because you said that earlier. That's how you know the red flag. It's just like, okay, someone's not communicating well. And that doesn't mean perfection. That just means what I deem as the definition.
What I can handle.
What my definition. And that's why we got to get real clear. What you mean?
Listen.
I always ask, what do you mean by that?
And we got to ask ourselves, what do I mean? What do I even mean?
What I'm hearing you say, though, is it's not beneficial if you don't know you.
Period.
It's not beneficial if you haven't taken the time to learn you.
And that's what's, oh my goodness, Kia, that's like so many areas of life we hidden because we don't either know ourselves or we know ourselves and we're not accepting ourselves.
Ooh, that part.
Right? Like, I keep going back to this because I think it was just a pivotal birthday. And again, I'm super in my faith. And so 40, right, is God's number for divine. Right? And so hearing that, and so I just kind of been in this space and I'm like, I'm coming out of like a whole lot of challenges my whole life, right? But that was my motivation to win. And I was sitting in therapy. My therapist said pretty much like, you need to find a new motivation because you're already healing. Like you can't hold on to this and work on healing, right? And I asked her, I said, well, if I lose this and I let it go, then how am I going to keep that same fire to keep going, right? And so fighting through that the whole time, because for me, I needed this, I got to prove you wrong and this and this and that. But being at a space where I'm no longer fighting, but I accepted me. I'm very flawed, right? I am amazing in the business space. I have challenges with letting people in, right? I have challenges with trusting and loving and sharing. I'm very selfish, right? Once I accepted that, I was like, girl, I love you, right? Like I gave myself so much grace because I understood I still have work to do, but I'm doing the work, right? And so hearing you say that, things have flowed that I've been trying to work on for years in less than a year.
That's how, it accelerates you.
Like, I'm literally getting calls about things that I thought about, just thought about, had conversations saying, all right, let's do this. Because I was like, I gotta let that motivation go, which was the hurt, and release, and be honest, like, Kia, we got work to do. And now it's like,
you cleared your space. And that's the thing, it's like, I love it. It's almost like when I think you cleared your space. Yeah, you're just like, woo. This is like clearing your space literally, like spiritually, physically, all the things. You clear your space to make room for the new, right? And it's like, but you
that's why they say we gotta clean out our closet when we're looking for a man.
Yep. That too. And I've done that. I do it every season. Because I've had great coaches and therapists that really taught me the power of clearing your space. Like your physical space.
This is so good. Listen, this is such a great conversation.
But you know what? Like with what you're saying, like I'm the same way. Like I was the only child for a very long time. I'm very selfish. Everything has to go the way I want it to go. and I've accepted all of that, right? Like I was married before, I accepted that I was very selfish in my marriage, but then I'm like, but I don't like that person. Like I don't know if I should say I don't like that person. I don't like to be like that.
No,
that's good.
So then at the same time, it's like, I had this homework at church that they gave me, and they're like, you need to pick 5 people from your inner circle, and you need to ask them what was their impression about you the first time they met you, kind of thing. And everybody said the same thing. You have this wall. You don't trust people. It takes you a while to open up. Because every time I meet somebody, I'm always like, what do you want from me? Like, why are you coming too close to? Why are you being so nice? Like, I'm always looking for the wrong.
Yes.
When people are too nice to me. And so people are saying, like, you have this wall. But then I go home and I'm like, but I don't want to be like that. It's like, I just... So how do you...
Oh, I love that.
Good enough.
Come on, coach. Come on, coach. I feel like I need to just stretch out and be like,
yes, we need some notebooks.
listen.
A couple things though, because one is asking yourself, where did that come from? Like, okay, where did it come from? Or where did it come from when I started feeling like I had to be selfish? Where did that come from? Because I think knowing the root of it is helpful. Then you can also ask yourself, which is what I think is even more fun, is who do I desire to be? Right? Because we morph. I think as human beings, we're like the butterflies that never die. Well, until we die. But you know what I mean? Because butterflies don't live long. But we can continue to morph. We can we're a different iteration of ourselves all the time.
I love that you said
so we get to keep. We actually are the only people that get to. We just keep to doing it, and we don't have to apologize for it. But we think we do, and that's the problem. But if you can give yourself permission to decide, you know what, I don't want to be that person anymore, but to change your thought, who do you want to be? Who does Marianne desire to be? Who do I want to step into? And giving yourself permission to really visualize, take time. What does that person do? How does she wake up in the morning? How does she talk to people? And there's going to be a season where you feel like even if you started doing those things, you're not being true to you, but you are being true to you. You is subjective. You is still you. You're deciding I'm being a different version of me.
That's so good.
That version of me no longer is serving my life. It's not serving my life anymore. So you have to really mourn it. Like, hey, that's the time I had it. I'm about to mourn that part of me. I don't need it. It's not helpful. I don't even like it. So that means I get to change it, but the reason that it's hard to change it, I get to.
So good.
But it's our mind.
Change it.
But it's our mind because
not I have to.
I don't have to. I get to change this. I get to do this because they know I got time for that. Not to be living bad. Like I don't want to keep being this. Like okay, I get to change this. But this is like that inside work, kind of like you said, doing that work with your therapist and being able to clear that space. Now things are moving. But it's like we can't escape the inside work.
And the spiritual parable is he can't fill a old wine glass with new wine, right? And that hearing that is just that is why we have to clean it up because even in the word he can't give us new wine.
It's still that's old good wine. Because this is even with that butterfly thing. You can't put a new butterfly in an old once they shed it. Once the caterpillar sheds, it's done. It's over. You can't try to put. Oh, let me go back into the old cocoon. That ain't you a new person. Shed the old skin. Get out of there. It's good. It's good. But I gotta give y'all the rest of your homework. So
yes.
Is more?
Yeah, girl.
That was the first.
I'm already that's gonna be a lot.
3 steps. Y'all re-listen to this now.
Listen, I'm gonna watch this again to get notes. I'm gonna be watching this with y'all. Like she said. Okay.
Okay. So you got your non-negotiables, right?
Yes.
So then the next thing is you need to make a list of 20 things.
Okay, so we do the 30.
The 30.
Then the 10.
10 of the non-negotiables.
Yeah, then the 30 is just to help you make your list of 10 non-negotiables. And this is just so you can get really anchored. That's the red flag. If I see that, then I'm walking, right? The list of 20 is for you to think about what characteristics in present, energetic qualities I desire in a mate. And it can't be yes or no. It can't be 6 feet, 220, 100K. It can be no.
You gotta be tall.
No. Now like, you can't
He just got to be taller than me.
No.
Okay. Oh, dang.
Yeah, Miriam, y'all need to get it together. Okay, listen.
Okay, that's not a yes or no. I said he just got to be taller than me.
Listen, y'all get on my nerves already. So this is the point. Like, you can say, you get on my nerves. Okay, listen. Y'all got to say something that is an energetic quality. Like, so my list, I don't have it on my phone anymore. But one of the things on my list is like, I desire to be with someone that is attractive and neat and cares about his appearance. Like, so I meet men that are attractive, they're neat, they care about their appearance, and they happen to be tall. Because I think God just knows I desire someone, I'm long, so I desire someone that's long as well. But even if I wasn't, he knows what you desire, but there was a time where I was fixated on only looking for that, but at the end of the day, I'm looking for attraction. Like, I need someone that's, listen. But I'm just like, that's the thing, because we were only looking for that. Yes or no? Oh, he checks the boxes.
You know,
so we're looking for all that. So
pack.
20 things, y'all got it? So attractive, neat, takes care of himself. I got financially stable and desires to build wealth. Okay. Someone that is interested in being married and desires to be in a loving marriage. You know, like right now, the desire to be in a loving marriage.
Because he can want to just have a wife, but don't want to be a husband.
Yeah, do you want to? Girl, come on, now that's one. That's a nugget right there, right? You could just have your art candy, but then you're not doing the work. Yeah. So I'm big on that. Like another one is like that he's kind and has a circle of friends that is community.
I need to borrow your list.
Yeah, we can play around with this.
Send us some pictures. We're gonna
I'm gonna just take your list and be like, this is what I.
And girl, I'm telling y'all, like as the days, sometimes you go out with people or I meet people and I'm like, oh, I gotta add this or I gotta be. It makes you get that more specificity in it the more you date and see me because you're like, yeah, I need more of that.
That right there, though, you gotta date to learn it.
Well, you gotta, but don't date without this. Wait, no, don't date without this list.
I'm gonna make it my list.
But you gotta date though.
Yeah, you do. But y'all gonna find out real quick on the part 3. You might not be ready.
Okay, what's the part 3?
Yeah, you might not be ready today. Yep, we're gonna get it together, Miriam. Listen.
Part 1,
part
10 non-negotiables. Part 2, 20 characteristics that can't be 6 feet, 6
It
figures,
can't be
6
yes or
pounds.
no. Yes. It has to be something scalable because I can judge you on a scale from 1 to 10 whether you're attractive. Not that I'm saying like, oh, you're an 8 because of your looks and height. It's more of like, hey, my attraction to you is what? I desire to be a 10 on somebody, right? But that's the point, right? That you want to have this list in front of you because our desire is to have 10s across the board, right? But you'll know, like, this is good. So anyway, look, I'm saying this is good to myself because I know where we're going. Okay, anyway, so it was a good book.
I love the energy. I love it.
I don't know where Lisa Hayes is, but I hope I want her to get credit.
We need to tag her, yeah.
Because she is out of print. And I've been telling people about this book for years since my friend gave it to me. So anyway, and I coach people on it, obviously.
Yes.
So then the other thing is, after you got that list of 20, this is the part that's going to get y'all life, right?
Okay.
You have to then score yourself.
What?
I'm a 10.
The list you created.
Wait.
What? So you make
that
the
list.
20
characteristics.
Yeah.
Then I need to say where I'm at?
You sure do. And you got to be super honest with
Do that mean
yes.
I have to, if I feel like I'm a 7, then I have to get a 7 in it?
Girl, yeah, what you mean? Like, you looking at your whole list. Like, listen, if I feel like I'm on 7, yes.
And what you're saying is, if I'm like, kind and soft, I'm like a 5.
Yeah, you would have to put a 5 down, yeah.
What I'm saying is, in that, am I saying, well, I'll accept a man instead of 5?
No. I got you. See, there's further instructions, but those are like the main activities. Okay. So the list of 30 so that you can narrow it down to 10 non-negotiables. That's your red flag list. If anybody got that, you sniff that.
The red flag list, y'all.
Everything is a red flag.
Write that down. No, I love this. So part 1, create your red flag list. Okay.
Yeah. What and 2? Yeah. I don't even need to get you
hit the list.
Yeah.
When we get to time, and this can be for men and women because this woman was she might currently still be, but she was a coach for men and women. But I mean, this could be anybody. Like, don't even go there because you know what I'm saying. Like, you gotta retrain your mind. Like, that's not what I really want. Yeah. That's what I've been doing, but that's not what I really want, right? I love so I know it's good.
Yes, it's so good.
So the other thing, yes, you need to score yourselves and stop playing. So this was when you score yourself. So y'all know 10 times 20 is 200. So the most points you can get is 200. That means you're a perfect. Nobody's going to be a perfect. You're not even going to score your man or whoever on a perfect, but if you score between 180 and 200, you should be dating. If you are not 180 to 200, you need to work on yourself because you're only going to attract somebody that is not what you want.
Oh, say that again.
You need to work on yourself because you are only going to attract someone you don't desire. And even if you are ready, you're going to attract that, but you'll have this energy about you that you won't deal with them. You feel me? But you
What
won't,
do you mean?
Because you're going to be standing in your stuff. You know what I'm saying? When you are
Because you understand that you're growing.
But you have energetically stepped into it.
That you're doing the work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I am that.
Yeah.
Like I ain't even doing it.
I'm working.
This is just who I am.
Yeah.
So if who I am is not, I don't tolerate people that aren't great communicators. And my definition of great communicators is someone that won't tell me where they are when we supposed to do something together. Like I've been stood up before on dates, and I'm like, I don't tolerate that. It's like if you can't tell me, what we even? That's like number one.
Yeah.
Like if you can't communicate when we're going to actually go on a date, I don't even need like that shit. But if I'm standing in my thing, like if I'm standing in my stuff, like if I'm like, listen, that's not, and I don't even have to yell. It's just like, you know what, we're not aligned. And I tell people that. I'm like, you know what, you are a really great guy, but we're not aligned. And I've had guys tell me that I'm not aligned with them, and I don't feel bad about it because they're looking for something else.
Don't waste my time.
Yeah, but even them, it's like they're looking for something else. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I respect that. Yeah. And that's why I be like, it's.
And I would appreciate that.
Right, and I appreciate that. I remember one guy, I really did enjoy him. But there was something about him, like from a spiritual perspective, I didn't know we aligned spiritually, but I was in a space where I was too afraid to say it out loud because I'm like, dang, he's such a nice guy. Like, all the other things felt good. And I remember he called, and we were supposed to go out, but he hadn't set a date. And I'm like, hey, I'm not set a date, a place. And I was like, hey, are we still doing something? And he was like, hey, I want to call you. He was like, no, I'm not coming, on that day. He's like, and we both knew we were both dating other people. We weren't like exclusive. And he was like, hey, I know I've told you I've dated, I was dating some other people. And we didn't live in the same state either. And he was like, I'm dating somebody right now that I feel like we're way more aligned spiritually than you and I. And he was on this spiritual journey. Like, he had grew up a certain way and then kind of went away from that. And now he's back in a place of growing. And that wasn't where I was, but I was still open to it. But because of where he was doing a lot of spiritual practices to find himself there. And that's not, I'm not in a space of finding myself there. Like, I'm pretty, not that certain I'm alive, but I feel really strong about where I am. And so he met somebody that either wanted to be on that journey with him, and I don't necessarily desire to be on that journey, so to speak. And so I was like, you know what? And that was probably late 30s, but that was probably the first time I had done all this work though. Probably the first time I ever met someone that actually called and told me this and not ghosted me. And I feel
bad because
I felt so good though.
I am a ghoster.
That's okay because some people don't deserve a conversation. But this is different. Me and him had went out a couple times, and we had talked on the phone. We went out a couple times, like we were serious. We FaceTime when we weren't in the States, and we saw each other's families, so it was a little more involved, so to speak. But it was like only 3 months. You don't need that long. It was like
I definitely don't feel you need that long.
Yeah, it was only 3 months, and it would have been shorter.
3 business days.
Not 3 business days. She feel like you could fall in love in 3. I'm like, girl, we need some time.
3 days, all day together.
We need some time. She like, 3 business days.
I need to be in love with me. 3 business days.
Girl, let it breathe.
She like, don't love me in 3 business days. What we doing? I'm like. Well, she has to do that because editing. Because she deals with editing. You want to do it again?
The fear.
Okay.
So we were talking about fear.
But no, I want you to go back to that. But what I just even in my friend group, in my circle group, I am growing past it now because as I'm learning myself. But fear was the main hindrance, right? The fear of knowing what could happen. So it hindered me from exploring, right? And now I'm at a space of like, date them all. Not like that, but like just not going in with thinking this is my husband. with understanding everyone is not going to be.
Absolutely.
And it was an older woman, and I remember asking this. We were just having a conversation. She's very successful, and I admired her lifestyle.
Sure.
Didn't know her too much, but she had made a statement. If I was young, no, I asked her. I said, "What is one thing you would do in your life again?" And she said, "I would have dated more." And I was like, out of all the things that she could have said, right? Like, and she said, the issue is we're looking for a certain type. She said, date to learn yourself. And that hit me. I was like, date to learn myself. She said, because you'll learn what you like and what you don't like. She said, but if you don't date, you won't know. And I took that and listen, I ain't did none of this work. So, you know.
I love what she said. That's good. I love what she said. You got work. You gonna get
listen, I ain't did none of that work.
I think that what she said is really important to do once you've done this work.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, adding this now makes sense. Because at first what I was doing, because her suggestion was to put them in a bucket.
Okay.
She said, stop looking for your husband.
Sure.
She's like, it could be a friend. It could be a never again, or it could be a potential husband. Right? And to figure that out. And so it made it easier because now I'm like, oh, I don't even have to figure out how long we're going to last. I first need to figure out what bucket you're going in. Are you a friend? Are you a never again? Or are you a potential? And that way I can handle you accordingly. So when we having this dinner talk, I can eat my food and not feel a certain way because I'm hungry. And I want to drink my wine.
And you probably wouldn't even go out with him depending on this work.
For me, it's the fear. But it goes back to the fear. Like, I'm always worry about, like, if I get too deep into this and it doesn't work out, I'm gonna be hurt, and I've been there already. So it's like, and it goes back to, like, you know, me growing up without a father and him coming in and out of my life. I think that was the biggest shock for me growing up, that I didn't meet my dad until I was 8. And then when I thought I had him, he would always leave me. So he was in and out of my life, and every time he came back, it's like he took another piece of my heart until it was no longer there. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's my problem with men, that I'm always like,
do the work, that homework. I can't wait to see your answers.
I know, I don't want to do my homework.
Listen, y'all, we once we do our homework, we coming back to the couch.
Because I don't know.
We coming back.
If you score under, and this is the instruction, if you get to that score, because you need to do work after the work. After you score your, if you do the score, and you score under a 180, then you need to go to the areas that you scored less on and decide, okay, what areas are really important to me, I want to work on it. So I can be honest with mine. Mine was financial. I had gotten out of debt in 2017. I paid off $86,000 in 8 years, so I was debt free for a couple of years. When I started my business, I did a lot of business credit. And I did that first, but then I started doing it, and I realized that there were habits that I didn't get rid of to be able to handle that as much. And so, and I also, it was a lot of things. It's actually a lot to unpack, but in the short, I wasn't sure of myself in my business because I always counted on being connected to an organization to feel important. So that's a whole nother thing.
Oh, that baby, we definitely gonna have that conversation.
When
you come back, we have it.
I needed that to feel important, and so as a result, I kept turning to more coaches and buying software and all the things that I felt like I needed. When I can probably count on one hand the coaches and courses that I actually needed and used. Like, I don't take it for granted in the sense of, like, you know, it's like, what is it, spill milk? I'm not gonna probably spill milk. I probably spent over $100K on just learning for business purposes and paying to be in rooms and paying to have access. And when I come back to myself, and this is the year I'm coming back to myself, it's like, you don't need that. And we're really coming back to God. Like, I'm like, you don't need all that. Like, it was fine that you wanted to take that journey, because I met some amazing people. I've learned. I have a lot of head knowledge. I have friends that, when they want to start a business, I'm like, girl, don't pay for nothing. Like, you just come talk to me because I feel like I know all the things. But I'm coming back to myself because I think a lot of I spent over $100K just to come back to, what is God telling you?
What the original plan and
purpose you were talking
is.
about.
That's when I say we mirroring it, literally out the same exact. Like, just to come back to this is what I said in the
This
beginning.
is what I told you to do in the first time.
I'm glad you had fun with Ring Around the Rosie. And enjoyed it and great relations, but none of those are what is propelling me.
But it's going to help our story because we'll connect with people. Like, at least nothing is wasted.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like. But what I'm saying, after you do the 20, you pick the thing. It was money for me. I was like, okay, I need to get back to tracking my money. I need to get back to having money goals. I'm no longer, chasing other things with all this credit because I feel like, and it's the marketing thing. Like people are great marketers, and honestly, a lot of people in the business space, I actually love their content and I love the work that they're doing. So you're almost paying just for their energy.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, but Desiree, you don't need to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so like that was one thing for me. The other one was working out, and so I had a recent post about working out. But y'all know I'm a dancer, so Signature Dance Company, right? So I spent years, girl, probably working out like 20 hours a week, 10 hours, because we would teach class, be in rehearsal. So when I started doing leadership coaching, training, speaking, all that, I moved away. Working out wasn't a part of my life in the way that it once was, and so I wasn't as much. But I said I wanted someone that takes care of their bodies, mind, heart, spirit on a regular. And I was like, Desiree, you go. How am I gonna want somebody in here? I ain't working out.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to have like a glass of wine, probably a bottle of wine when I'm
gonna have to have like two more.
It's kind of like, how much do you really want what you desire?
But that's the thing of like, this is the
work.
Space that I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm doing the work,
that's
so
it.
I need to continue, right? Like,
yeah.
I no longer want to settle. I'm on a 30-day cleanse. That's why you got you see my little grapes, you see my water, because for me, like, fitness, health is priority 2 for me, or 3, I would say. Like, I have my daughters, and then health before money, right?
Sure.
So those are my non-negotiables: prayer, devotion, fitness, and then coffee.
Yeah.
But in hearing that, I said I slid away. Like, I started living a little bit. I'm like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this and do that. And for others, it's not a big deal. For me, it's that I'm losing my discipline, right? It is the principle behind it of once you lose discipline in what's a priority, it'll sink into others. And so I said I had to get back to this. I'm doing this 30-day to tell and show myself that I am the master over food. I am the master over this, right? Girl, I wanted a donut so bad earlier. I wanted a cupcake yesterday, sweet. Let me tell you, if you love me, you feed me. But it is me saying I have to show myself that this is still a priority, so it does not trickle into how I do my work, how I do my business, right? And so I want to do this assignment because I wanted to add.
It's gonna be so good, y'all. And so I mean, when I read this,
I don't know if I'm ready for the results, but I do.
The results actually, you know what, babe? You know what? The best way to be ready for the results is don't connect it to yourself. Don't connect it to your self-worth. It doesn't make you a bad person. We got to get away from it being like school. It's not school. I'm just assessing where I am right now. I probably was banging in this area at one point. I'm not right now, and that's okay. But I mean, you got to like really feel that it's okay. It's okay. I'm not judging myself. It's not to shame myself. It's just I need to be aware. It's a blank slate. You know what I'm saying? Treat it like a game. Like, this is just a game. We take stuff too seriously. We so hard on ourselves.
So do you recommend that we do it like 3 months after again? Or 6 months after again?
You're going to keep using Yes. So if you get under a 180, which I have been, under that 180 before, you have to do the work. And she said do it, like, you could do like 60 days. It depends, because some stuff might be a quick fix. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff is a quick fix. Like, when you think about, like, one was like, in the book, she has a lot of examples of her clients. So one person wanted to spend more time with their family. She's like, I never call them. So I'm going to start calling my mom every week. And I'm going to do something with my brother like once a month. So like, some stuff can be a real quick, because it's not like foreign to you.
Because if you're asking for a family,
so some things is just easy. Some things are just easy. It will be easy. It's going to be fun. But after
you gotta
score yourself 180. Once you get to 180, start dating.
I love how this conversation because this was supposed to be about you.
And you done put us on the couch, baby.
I'm like sweating. I'm like,
she done put us on the couch.
I'm I'm sweaty right now.
Oh my goodness. No, when I say this is so much good information, part 2 is coming.
Yes.
I don't know if we gotta wait till you come back.
We
or
have
come
to
DC.
Oh yeah.
Because I love me some East Coast.
Listen.
But before we wrap it up, we always end with the grown woman. Like, what would you say is your grown woman gems? Like, if you could talk to 1, the little girl in you, 2, another woman who is trying to become her, and then 3, the woman that is you today, what would you say?
Ooh, this is so good. Y'all may have me heard that too much. If I had to say something, the little girl, and I did this recently, I would tell her that she's enough. Everything she is enough. Like, you don't have to look anywhere else.
Love that.
Whatever you hear, go with it,
enough,
and just enjoy the journey, right? So I would definitely say that to her. And then you said the her that is growing.
That is growing, right? Like, the woman that is transitioning, finding herself, whether it's personal, professional, career, right? Like, it is just that pivoting period.
Ooh, I love this. Yeah, so people that I work with that, I'm just like, be still. So like that would be the thing. It's like, I was just like, hey, be still in the sense, and being still doesn't mean you're not active,
That you're not
right? And so like being still, something is happening to this water that's still, right? The ice is melting, it's absorbing with the air, you know what I mean? Or the water's coming up, whatever, whatever, all the things. Things are doing things even though they're still, right? Stuff is happening. And so it's just something in stillness. And the stillness is for them to just regroup where they desire to truly go. Because we get real uncomfortable in spaces because it's time for something to shift. It might not mean we have to physically move, but it might. So we just need time.
That shift.
It's a shift.
And then it's a consistent thing that happens in our lives all the time.
Absolutely.
And learning to be still.
And it's a shifting in you to do something different in you. And like really, we talked about masculine versus kind of like that feminine area. Well, we didn't talk about it in general, but I think we get to learn to like let our body tell us what's happening, right? You know what I'm saying? But we can't hear from our body if we're moving all the time. So I was like, be still, because get out of your head. Like, so you were talking about think. That's a masculine trait, right?
Ooh, then I'm in my 100%. If I'm always in my head.
100% masculine at this point. She just gave herself.
Well, we all are a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But the point is, women, and this is what I was talking about earlier, and I'm going to tell this person this, is that she's only doing it because she has to. Right? And it's like...
Because none of us desire to.
No. Nobody really desires to, but it's like we do it because we have to, and it's not wrong. Because even married, you need some of it to run your household. You need some of it to do the things. It's just that we got to give ourselves permission that even though it's not a male in our space, we have to give ourselves the opportunity to lean back, and like that's why I'm like, be still. Like, be still. This is your opportunity to relax on yourself. Be soft. And that don't just mean that don't mean just a spa day, because I be saying that too. Yeah. Like, it's not a spa day. It's like, be still. Like, turn the phone off. Don't think. Like, feel yourself. Like, because once you get quiet, don't think. Just feel yourself. Like, what's happening?
There's a book called The Power of Stillness, I think.
Ooh, is it?
Eckhart Tolle. It's
okay, yeah. Cool, so I would tell them that, and then the other person.
The woman that is you now.
The woman that, it's so good. What I tell myself. Well, I tell myself as of recently, like earlier today. I was telling myself to just relax. Almost the same thing. I was telling myself to relax and just do it. Like, it's okay if you make a mistake. You don't have to be so serious. So
give
just
yourself grace.
Just do it. It's okay. You already got it. Yeah. Like, just go. Like, it's okay. Like, just keep moving. I did something really interesting. Like the other day, it was one of those things I know God told me to do like a year ago, and I finally did it.
You know, the delayed obedience, still be disobedient.
And I finally did it, and I just been walking. And so some of my frustrations earlier today was as a result of making the decision. And I was like, you know what? This is just because my body is all rattled. Like, you did this, and now we gotta do it. And this is like, I'm not listening to that voice. I'm not listening to that. I'm chilling. Because I was listening to it and I felt my body get tense. And thinking like, okay, now I gotta do this, and this isn't working. I'm like, you know what, chill. Like, it's only happening because I made a big decision and I had to be okay. Yep. It was like, it's okay. So just, you gotta recognize, but it's hard to recognize it because we be in the moment. So I have to like, I'm making myself relax. Like, it's okay.
I love that. This is so good.
Oh my God, I'm like, good.
I feel like I have so much work to do. Like,
part 2 is coming because
yes, y'all heard it here.
Part 2 is coming. Part 2 is coming. You know with who? With men. We're gonna be Rashad into the picture.
We need to bring a man into the conversation. Watch it. That's family. But that's because we had the first conversation. Okay,
that'll be fun.
No, thank you.
Yes,
This was so just honored. Your energy has been amazing. Your spirit is just as kind, right? Like you radiate, and you can tell. There's some people who preach and don't live it.
Yeah.
There's some people who talk it and don't walk it. Yeah. But to feel you, right? Like I feel like one of my gifts, one of the greatest gifts I have is discernment, and to feel your authenticity, right, makes me even more want to go do the work because I want to make sure that I'm always with self and to know self. So we're honored. We're honored. I definitely thought the conversation would be definitely thought we were gonna be like, coaches up on human, but this was. You helped us to understand being human.
Yeah.
And more powerful. Yeah. Like I think so many times we're so like career driven, goal driven, career driven, goal that we forget. And this is your work. Is being people. Yeah. Being the people. And today you talk to the spirit, you talk to the person, you talk to the human. So I'm honored.
Thank you so much.
And how can people connect with you?
So people can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my space. That's my happy place. It's LinkedIn these days. Yeah. I also have a YouTube channel. It's just my name, Desiree Cocroft. Not just my name.
We'll add it.
Yeah. So we'll add all of that. Yeah. And then the book, if they want to get the book.
Yeah. My book is on Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Amazon.
I love that.
It's like Tarjay.
It's
Amazon. They're gonna be like, what? They'll be like, you don't know. You don't even know.
It's called Get Your Life Today, 7 Success Hacks for Life, Leadership, and Business.
Yes. We will tag that too. And we definitely got to support. So the Grown Woman Podcast will make sure that we get a book. But
thank you. Thank you so much.
See you till next time. Don't forget to follow us. Share this with your friends and stay tuned for the second part because we gotta do this. We gotta report our homework.
Coming soon.
Bye, guys.